Hey everyone, the Elementarist here, and today's topic is the Hekatjt Subjective Thinker, a modernized interpretation of under hope perspective. The subjective thinker organizes experience according to internal logic and personalizes systems of thought. Unlike the objective thinker, who applies externally validated frameworks, the subjective thinker builds principles from within, arranging knowledge into self-driven schemas. Logical consistency and internal coherence matter more than social consensus or practical application. The subjective emphasis creates a mental world in which ideas are carefully shaped, structured, and judged by an inner compass. This inner framework might begin as a critical response to inherited teachings. Rather than accepting information at face value, the subjective thinker subjects it to independent scrutiny. There is an ongoing effort to perfect internal clarity, drawing fine distinctions, refining categories, and weighing implication with precision. At the same time, information that lies outside conscious awareness or seems incompatible with the inner model might be disregarded. The inner world thus becoming highly developed but selectively curated. The result is an individual highly attuned to the deeper implications of thought. Subtlety, nuance, and conceptual elegance are preferred over simplification. However, expression remains a challenge. The thoughts of the subjective thinker are often rich and internally validated but difficult to articulate in linear or persuasive terms. Rather than attempting to win others over, the subjective thinker might offer views as they are, detached from the outcome. As Jung noted, such individuals treat own ideas not as carefully nurtured offsprings, but as foundlings left to make their way in the world. This detachment from communication does not imply a lack of conviction. Inwardly, the subjective thinker feels certain, yet simultaneously skeptical that others will understand or accept the conclusion reached. This paradox contributes to a reserved or aloof demeanor. In early development, this can manifest as a child who appears shy or uncertain, yet displays stubborn certainty when challenged. The subjective conviction might be unshakable, even in the absence of proof or external validation. Despite the inner certainty, there is often a tolerance for pluralism. The subjective thinker recognizes that many systems exist, and might even allow for views that conflict with personal logic, provided they remain outside the inner framework. However, this tolerance coexists with deep surprise when others fail to grasp what seems self-evident. Efforts to explain might fluctuate between meticulous over-preparation and resigned opacity. This type tends to prepare extensively before taking action. Life is approached as something to be mentally mapped before being physically entered. Subjective thinkers typically prefer planning, strategizing, and forecasting over improvisation. Engagement may be delayed until full conceptual mastery is achieved. In favorable cases, this leads to precision and innovation. In less balanced expressions, energy might be squandered on excessive theorizing or imagined contingencies. Subjective thinkers are often drawn to philosophy, mathematics, psychology, and theoretical sciences, fields where conceptual mastery is valued over charisma or social fluency. While some excel in applied roles requiring careful organization or technical systems, others might become rigid or overly exacting, thus causing difficulty in group efforts. Social interaction often feels studied, with words and expressions filtered through internal analysis. In more private contexts, the subjective thinker might reveal warmth or originality, albeit with scenes of awkwardness or oversensitivity. The will is concentrated and consistent. Since motivation is internally sourced, it is less vulnerable to external discouragement, but more affected by internal obstacles. Inner doubts, unresolved tensions, or moral conflict might erode productivity. Nonetheless, perseverance in the absence of external rewards or recognition is common. Subjective thinkers tend to use logical reasoning as a means for ordering both external facts and inner drives. Idealistic attitudes might emerge in areas like love or ethics, where principles override personal desires. This idealism, however, might manifest as rigid systems that evade complexity. The type might develop elaborate philosophies of restraint or license, each constructed to rationalize instinctual experience from a distance. Furthermore, an intuitive leaning might suggest a tendency towards theoretical emphasis, while a corresponding sensation leaning preference might imply a focus on practical application. However, at the current state, the individual's orientation is primarily shaped by dominant thinking without a distinctly developed auxiliary function to strongly reinforce either theoretical or practical emphasis. When intuition plays a role, it is casually integrated, accepted only when it can be logically classified or tested. Original insights may arise, but are often filtered through a slow and methodical process. Some of the most profound ideas may remain unrealized due to overanalysis. Intuition may reveal the deeper architecture of systems, yet its raw form is often mistrusted until it aligns with established thought. Emotion poses the greatest challenge. Feelings are allowed only if they conform to internal standards, and even then, expression might be clumsy or formal. There might be a split between exaggerated conventionality and naive impulsiveness, both resulting from discomfort with emotional ambiguity. Feelings can become sources of internal unrest, especially when love or intimacy provoke vulnerability. Instead of surrendering to emotion, the subjective thinker might intellectualize or rehearse endlessly, stifling spontaneity. Ultimately, the subjective thinker strives to live according to inner principles, seeking clarity and integrity even when our success or social ease are compromised. Through deep critical reflection and disciplined thought, this type contributes frameworks, insights, and models that enrich intellectual life. Thought not without risk of rigidity, isolation, or internal overcomplexity. Hope you enjoyed this video and you found it informative. Stay tuned for more.